Welcome to a muzzled chat. Welcome to the studio. Whether for the first time or what are we, over 100 episodes, even if it's for the 100th time, welcome. Lots of heavy hitting things to dive into today. I'm going to try to do my best not to get too ramped up. It becomes a challenge when you're exposing evil's hand. You're literally witnessing the torment and torture and the suffering of beautiful people all over the world. Even looking back in history in the past, so much needless suffering has taken place. And at the root of it, it's all evil, nefarious doers. But as I hope to expose it so we can seize this moment in time and address these issues and put a stop to the perpetuation and the continual deterioration of not just our nation state, but all over the globe. Where's your precipice? When is enough for you? Because what's wild for me is we've uncovered some things. I was in deep discussion just last night with a close friend regarding that water engine that gentleman created in the 80s. Like, let's just go there. The evidence supports this wasn't a snake oil salesman. That he in fact created an engine that ran on any type of water. Seawater, tap water, distilled water, lake water, just water. And I love that it kept the essence of like a muscle engine. But anyway, that's beside the point. It was beyond revolutionary. It was more efficient. It would have been such a great blessing to everyone, not just in this nation, but across the globe. An insane blessing where he stated that on 22 gallons he could go from coast to coast here in the States, from freaking California coast all the way to the East Coast, like New York. 22 gallons of water. Fact, this man was offered billions and turned it down. Let's just look at the facts. He was on multiple news stations. He had family that was involved. More than likely church folk that was involved, town folk. There was a lot of people that knew this man, saw his work, witnessed this buggy and vehicle for themselves. You can see it on the countless news reports that were done. Like there was crowds. And I want to capture the evidence and the facts. Now, if there's information about this man that I have yet to find, because there's nothing really supporting anything that this man did not break through. He filed all the patents. He had a working engine. And this is the biggest thing about it. It wasn't exclusively an engine build out that like Toyota's trying to do right now. It was a conversion kit for like $1,500 or something that we would have been able to purchase, add to our vehicles, and convert them into water drinking machines. So it was more revolutionary than a new Tesla line type vehicle, but agua, H2O, whatever, water-based. It was a kit. We could have modded out the current inventory and stock and vehicles we have already possessed. Now think on it for a bit. This was going to disrupt big things, not just big oil, like economies, governments, like big things. But we, the people of the world, would have benefited entirely. So think on this. This man ends up at a restaurant it was a meeting. I believe it was stated that, there were individuals from another country or whatnot. And his brother was even there. And at one point, this man gets up, runs outside the restaurant, basically yells, "I've been poisoned," and dies. I don't care what the report says. An aneurysm and ruling out toxins. No poisons found in his body. Well, do you know there's legit poisons that will kill people that are untraceable? Untraceable. This is no secret. It exists. This man, clear as day, was murdered. But what really gets me, let me call out that whole generation. Now, I actually should look at the dates when this took place. I may have just been before my time, or I might have been in my first years of birth. But what a weak bleeping generation. I mean, just hear me out. The fact that all these people witnessed with their eyes, they saw. I mean, one of the news stations even went into his home, saw a bigger device that actually visually even showed what this creation he made for the engine was doing, how it was separating the hydrogen from the water itself to make a combustible material in a safe way. So he had all the science, everything behind it. But what blows my mind is because everything, when he dies, gets covered up, shelved, disappeared, it's gone. Clearly, because look, nothing came of it. And there's no reports that, it's because he's a snake oil salesman. That is not the outcome. You would think if our government and agencies were on behalf of we the people, we would have ensured the safety of this man's breakthrough, because this would have been an incredible blessing to this nation, an incredible blessing to all of its citizens. But we know better. With what we're exposing on this platform, we freaking know better. They don't care about us, and they would sell us out to get any type of gain on the world stage. We're infiltrated. We're corrupted. So it's wild. I want to call out the people in this weak generation, because it's what happened? I personally have a level of guilt within me. Then why did it take me to really speak out on this and basically state that the outcome of this very situation is unacceptable? Unacceptable. Why did it take me till 40 years old to come to this conclusion? So there's a level of guilt within me. that why didn't I pick up on this when I was 16 or early 20s, 30s even? So for all of us, so anyone in that generation that knew and saw that live and can remember where they were when they were like, oh, hopeful, and they were excited, like, it's your choice. If you want to take offense to the words, that's your choice. That's out of my control. But you'd be missing the point and the opportunity of accountability and facing the person in the mirror, because I believe there's a bigger connection to be made, because it's like, why did we sit by and allow this to be the outcome? Like, oh yeah, I remember that, but then time goes on, and what is it? Was it the football and work and schooling and family and just all the selfish side of life that we just, well, yeah, that sucks. Like, we just let it disappear? We let these groups murder one of our fellow citizens that had a breakthrough, invention that would have revolutionized and benefited everyone, that would have gave us an astronomical amount of freedom. Similar, and this is what's crazy. Choose your poison. Choose your topic. There's so many situations, events, individual, corporation, groups, world powers, elites, you name it. Wars, systems, that we could dive into. Not necessarily this, like the pandemic or 9/11 being an inside job. Anything. Essentially, you could choose whatever you desire, essentially, that is completely unacceptable, an unacceptable outcome, and let that be enough to be able to face the person in the mirror and just stand and be like, no more. It's time to assemble. It's time to govern this country as one by we the people and get to the bottom of these things. But it blows my mind, even on this singular topic about this water-powered engine. I just had a moment of what a weak generation. Heck, just throw me in part of it. Even though I was 1, 2, and then now I'm 40. I was a part of the non-action up to this point, and I don't even care. I'm not seeking accolades. I just want to get to the freaking bottom of things. The outcome is egregiously unacceptable. And we allowed some company or individuals come in and just sweep up and steal all this hard man's work. I just want us to acknowledge that this is proof to the level of deterioration we have all been exposed to by the mass psychosis and the media and the poisoning of our bodies and minds, to where we're just good, compliant. We haven't been as free as we think we are. We've been trapped even in our own minds, manipulated into our own little boxes, because how on earth is that an acceptable outcome to even this just pretty black and white situation? This just gets shelved. I think it exposes just so much right there. And I just feel it's time for us all to seize the day. And if it feels overwhelming and you can't connect the dots as to well, what difference are we going to make? How are we going to go about it? Then it's you got to up your resilience first, because I personally feel and can see how we could switch all of this. There's so many calls to action. There's so many more things. There's so much influence that each and every one of you can have that will, A, either lead to saving souls, or B, riding this ship. But it's irrelevant whether we right this ship or not. At the point we're saving souls and we're coming into fulfilling the very purpose as to why we're here and living on behalf of our fellow brothers and sisters more than our freaking selves. That's a beautiful accomplishment. Anywho, thank you for bearing with me on that rant. I freaking love you guys. I don't mean to come across crazy harsh or anything. I just want to... I want to be good cop, bad cop, freaking everything. I'm just trying to... I'm going to try my best to stay away from 4-letter words. Obviously, we come across quite a bit of the language in the clips and things like that. And disclaimer, there's definitely going to be more of that in this very episode. But, you know, like for certain folks, like whatever it takes for certain breakthroughs and to lift that veil or lift those blinders off, you know, don't mean to offend anybody. We're to challenge ourselves, like at the point, even, you know, I myself over anything, like am getting offended, even if you're pretty much in the right because you were trying to like help someone and they just, whatever, like, it's to take a second and be like, well, it doesn't matter. They're reacting. I don't understand, you know, what they've been through. But it's just an opportunity for the individual, like yourself, at the point, like you're taking offense. Like it's more important in that moment to look inward and really seek as to why you're even reacting that way. Because in what way, shape, or form is that going to better any situation? And I feel like that's the defect of wiring our society has warped us into becoming to our own detriment and perpetuating the very issues versus being more solution based and moving past these things. So now everyone's walking around wounded. Anyway, I just see how deteriorated we're at. Like, I guess in a way, that's the blessing of this Lyme disease that I'm starting as I'm healing and breaking through, having breakthrough. I'm able to acknowledge a lot of this within myself. And then I look around and then like this very situation, like how is that outcome acceptable? There's so many situations where it's just like, and we just accepted that. We accepted the unacceptable. In like a 2-tiered system. Like it's like our constitution's been out the window for some time now. And anyway, I just feel enough is enough, and it's time. It is time, folks. So let this be enlightening and encourage and light that fire within you, and reach out to me however I can improve and help maximize the efforts that are going into this by any means, from the communication side of things, the content side of things, the marketing, everything. I need your help. God bless you all. All right, so diving in, this is a pretty awesome quote. People don't realize how hard it is to speak the truth to a world full of people that don't realize they're living a lie. Edward Snowden. It's very hard. Does it even matter what people think? No, It's just important that we stand strong and speak the truth no matter what. Okay. This is the title. Someone get this to Tucker Carlson ASAP. This exposes some of the things going on behind closed doors, and as to why our politicians and certain individuals seem to not be fulfilling the very things they ran on and what have you. So listen to this lady here.
For too long to be able to clear those matters up.
Sounds like you know.
May I say one little reported facet of my case is one of the federal agents involved in one of the operations against me said that they intended to plant child porn in my husband's computer. This is the FBI.
The FBI.
There's been a case that's currently in litigation, unrelated, in which an FBI agent has testified that they did that. They have done that. It was not accomplished in my case. I guess the curtain was drawn on that facet of the operation prior to them doing it. But imagine how you ever get out of that. They knew we had a young daughter at home and has allegedly conspired to do that.
We got to abolish these agencies that have been infiltrated. There needs to be proper checks and balances from we the people. These institutions and agencies have gone unchecked for obviously far too long, and they're egregiously abusing their abilities. And what's wild, we're funding it. And they could just plant whatever, and they're now Serbians, like, just fulfilling clearly with the connections you can see, the globalists' agenda. Those are the ones that infiltrated these. I'm not fearful of them. Once again, this is where it boils down to, when one values spiritual life and death over this mortal, because we're all mortally freaking visiting here, then it's more than encouragement to like speak out on this. You just are able to, I don't know, it's just great blessing, folks. More bone-chilling reality. Members of Congress are terrified of these intel agencies. And he's not guessing it. This is what he has been told. So let's actually listen to Tucker revealing some of this. And it gives us some insight behind the scenes and enlightenment as to, wow, okay, that makes sense. But it also highlights the importance for all of us to fix and correct these issues.
Members of Congress are terrified of the intel agencies. I'm not guessing at that. They've told me that, including people on the intel committee, including people who run the intel committee, the people whose job it is to oversee and keep in line these enormous secretive agencies whose budgets we can't even know. They're black budgets. They're the parents. The agencies are the children. They're afraid of the agencies. That's not compatible with democracy.
No, it's not.
Democracy is a really simple system, even representative democracy like ours. The people rule. They do so through elections. They express their preference through voting. They send their people to the capital city to run the government on their behalf. Whenever you have unelected people who are not accountable to anyone making the biggest decisions, you don't have a democracy. You have something else, another system. I would call it a tyranny or whatever you want to call it. It's not a democracy. So that's like super obvious. It's playing out in front of everyone, and no one cares and no one does anything about it. And I think the reason is because they're threatened. And if you look at the committee chairmen who allow this shit to happen year after year, they're all, and I don't know, people say, oh, they're compromised or being blackmailed. Or I don't have evidence of that, but I know them. And they all have things to hide.
We actually
I know
do.
that.
I mean, even what Carrie Lake recently exposed. But there's lots of individuals just like that lady. We just played the clip. We do have evidence of that.
For a fact. And so it's not a stretch of imagination to imagine that, you know, some committee chairman who's allowing warrantless spying on Americans to continue, or whatever abuse they're allowing, knowing fully or hiding the truth about UAPs, ignoring the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023. Like, why are they doing that? It's not impossible to imagine that some guy with a drinking problem or a weird sex life, and that's very common up there, that's why they're doing it. Because they don't want to be exposed. I don't have evidence of that. I don't have proof of that.
Right.
But that's not a crazy thing to assume that could be happening. And I said to somebody, a very powerful person, the other day in a conversation in my kitchen, an elected official, holds a really senior position, a very famous person. I was going crazy. I was so mad about all this stuff and about the warrantless spying and about the funding for these insane wars. And I said to the guy who serves in one of the legislative bodies, I got so mad my dogs were afraid. They're like, well, why are you yelling? Because I don't yell at home. But I was like, all these people are controlled. They're all, we've got weird sex lives and all these things are hiding and they're being blackmailed by financial agencies. And he said, and I'm quoting, I know. It was like, okay, so at this point we're just sort of admitting that's real? Like, why do we allow that to continue?
I know. Yeah, why? Assessor says that. Why are we allowing this degeneracy, this evil, this corruption to continue? Why? We don't have to. And it is well within our rights and well within our control, well within our ability to minimize all the shenanigans, folks. I'd like to get to the bottom of, let's find that fellow's buggy. Let's find his research. Among so many other things. There's obviously way more important things than that, but man, I feel like we owe that to his family. I'm sure the billions he was offered was to shelf his product. It was bigger than money, it seems, to that man, because he wanted to bless your life, all of our lives. And he wanted this product out. That's what it seems he was fighting for. To not allow it into the wrong hands, as he's even spoke out on in some of his interviews. Unacceptable, folks. I love this man's passion. Labeled the absolute greatest 5 minutes. It's pretty freaking darn good. Let this fuel you, ignite the fire, and his passion really captures enough is enough.
I think I just have to say it like this. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I am worn out. I am fed up. I've had enough.
Yes.
I am tired of exposing corruption, doing our homework, going overseas and having documents translated to make sure they're exactly right, presenting the evidence. We know what's happening, except then once we expose it, nothing happens.
Right.
Nobody goes to jail.
Right.
Nobody pays for a damn thing anymore. Nothing. If you and I did half the things that people in Washington do every day, you and I would go to prison.
Yep.
Clinton got away with it.
Right.
Even the left knew that the Clinton Foundation was dirty.
Right.
They sold uranium to our biggest enemy, Russia. Nothing. Right. No. She can take confidential, top secret emails and put them on her server at her home. Something you and I would go to prison for.
Right.
We would be in prison for the rest of our lives. Not a big deal.
Right.
Benghazi? No. Not only did we show you that we were gun running to a group in Syria that became ISIS, that's what we were doing in Benghazi. Not only that, but just the killing of a U.S.
Gosh, dang it. Why am my keyboard not working? Wasn't pausing when I wanted it to. I apologize. I'm over it. But so many things. I mean, with the Clinton and the BlackBerry and smashing and to dive into the connections and the money and the foundation and even the personal relations, it's no joke. Like, you go after and expose the Clintons, you end up on a freaking list, and you end up killing yourself. You end up with two bullets to the back of your head, which surprisingly a lot of people are able to do. No, they're being murdered. So it is insane, the numbers that are connected to that family. It's just evil.
Benghazi? No. Not only did we show you that we were gun running to a group in Syria that became ISIS, that's what we were doing in Benghazi.
Right.
Not only that, but just the killing of a U.S. ambassador, and, might I point out, on Veterans Day, we abandon our troops. Did anything happen? Nope. Nothing. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of actually being open and saying, okay, well, let's look into the spying on this presidential candidate. That's a pretty hefty charge. Were they doing it? And then finding out, yes, they were, and nothing happens.
And they're going to do it again.
He was colluding with Russia. My gosh, that should be the biggest scandal of all time if that were true. If it wasn't true, and it was started, and evidence, paperwork even showed that they knew.
Right.
All the way to the White House.
Right.
You'd think that would be even a bigger story.
Wasting our money.
Lying to the FISA courts, nothing.
Right.
Creating an enemies list, nothing. Using our own intelligence agents.
And the FISA courts just passed the whole FISA got passed in the courts again, folks. In this dire state, they're going to take more millions and millions of our tax dollars. Do I have to yell on this microphone again? Stop paying our enemies. I can see income tax. Educate yourself. Go to freedomlawschool.org. Now, if you're doing this research, I applaud you. Pay it forward. Get more involved. Because once again, it's like they cannot... That's how we even secure it that much more. They cannot come after all of us. Not that they even can. Because at Freedom Law School, they're stating not one of their students have been... assets been seized or spent a day in jail or any of that. They're protected. Why? By the Constitution and laws that exist. It's unconstitutional. For over 99%, I guess, Americans, it's different if you live in D.C. and it's different if you have a government job. So you got to educate yourself and look into it. We have the most personal gain to be had on this, and yet I'm not seeing, even in my personal circles, people take freaking action on this. It's another moment where it's just, are we that too far gone? Should we just put all of this down and focus strictly on upping our resilience? I mean, I got a slew of products I feel are having breakthroughs for me that I'm going to be announcing here really soon, because this testimonial for me is it's building pretty darn quick. But we got to stop funding our enemy.
To assist in this operation,
right.
Spending millions of dollars on a claim they knew that wasn't true.
Right.
The collusion on Russia, they knew it before the president was ever elected.
Right.
The scandal, the loss of billions of tax dollars in Ukraine, no big deal. the lies and the collusion with the Obama administration in Ukraine, no big deal. Hunter Biden, forget about Burisma. What was that, $7 billion? Ha! Who cares? Look at Hunter Biden and his father in China.
Right. Gosh.
Oh, but we don't have any proof of that. Yes, we do.
Yes, we
We
do.
have all the proof anyone who cares to be honest needs. We have all the documents on his own frickin' laptop, which have been verified for people that were working with him, who were Democrats that had those same emails on their computer.
Tell 'em, dude.
Nothing.
Nothing.
The scandal of our Justice Department, the deep state, which I didn't believe in 4 years ago. My gosh, you've got to be dead and probably voting in the last election if you don't see the deep state.
Right.
The corruption of our media.
Ooh.
Our media telling us to deny our own eyes. There's a car on fire, and they're like, oh, nothing's happening here. It's totally peaceful. There's a car on fire behind you.
Right.
We're not supposed to notice that. Good has been made evil, and evil is made good.
That is such a great point. I like to just ponder on that.
They ask you now to don't believe your own eyes, believe us. Our country is being torn apart on the streets by radicals who are marching with no Trump, no Biden, no America signs. But don't worry about that. This is just a peaceful group. Really? Our children are being indoctrinated with all kinds of crap, telling them that they're racist because of the color they were born with. The teachers' unions completely out of control. The lies of Black Lives Matter, Inc. And no one seems to care. No one seems to care that Black Lives Matter is actually a corporation.
Corrupt corporation.
That Black Lives Matter, on their own manifesto, said they wanted to destroy the nuclear family. But that's all fine. Antifa? No. They're not wild in the streets. That's only an idea. Yeah, kind of like Nazism was an idea.
Right.
But yet, if you support the Constitution, if you just say, I want a fair and legal count, you're a radical. You're an anti-government zealot. I've had it. I've had enough.
Wow. Tell him.
I almost didn't make the show last week because this is what I wanted to say to you. Except it would have been followed with, so see you later. So
that is powerful, is it not? Folks, just a reminder, in the comment section, all the links will be added. So if you want to exclusively send these out, share these, or bless this platform and the hard work that goes into each one of these episodes, and just share this episode. We're just trying to get the word out so we can take this country back. We can ensure a better tomorrow. We can do this collectively, folks. Now, if that wasn't clear enough, that was pretty freaking profoundly clear. Right here in 2 minutes. To understand how the Biden administration is destroying America.
A warning to America. 25 ways the U.S. is being destroyed in under 2 minutes. 1. Open borders and illegal immigration. 2. Rampant crime in unsafe cities. 3. Mass addiction and fentanyl. 4. Election insecurity and interference. 5. The educational indoctrination of children. 6. The asymmetrical weaponization of justice. 7. The destruction of private property rights. 8. Inflation and debt. 9. The global depopulation agenda. 10. Record low fertility and plummeting birth rates. 11. Unaccountable federal bureaucracies. 12. Toxic food supply. 13. Vaccine and pandemic disinformation. 14. The transcontagion and sterilization of children. 15. Overprescription of pharmaceuticals. 16. Destruction of the nuclear family and parental rights. 17. DEI and the new racism. 18. Moral and societal decay. 19. The financing of endless foreign wars.
Wow.
20. The sprawling surveillance state. 21. The centralization and consolidation of government power. 22. The destruction of trust in institutions. 23. The censorship industrial complex. 24. State media propaganda. 25. The smearing of those who challenge it.
Right. History promises only this for certain. We will get exactly what we deserve. Paul Harvey.
Mission log 2050-01.
Wow. Powerful. Could make a multitude of episodes on every singular one of those 25 item, like 25 topics that, yeah, this administration is enacting. Obama's third eye in the White House is this man. Let's play this.
As the world settles into the fog of war and Iran tries to destroy Israel, Biden's out here mumbling about cannibals. And the question that at
Correct.
first arose out of comic curiosity arises now with pressing panic. Who is in charge of America right now?
Right.
It sure
Good
isn't
question.
Creepy Joe or Tipsy Kamala.
Right.
The guy responsible for all the war and destruction in the world right now is Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan. He's calling the shots. Sullivan was Hillary Clinton's former deputy chief of staff. He rose through the ranks very
Surprise.
quickly and became a core member of Obama's inner circle. Arguably, he is the actual manifestation of Obama's third term in the White House. The annual meeting of the world's most powerful people at Davos is usually attended by the president in his first term. But when Joe Biden was deemed too incapable of attending Davos,
Wow.
they didn't send Vice President Kamala, as is protocol. They sent Jake Sullivan. Sullivan has been called a once-in-a-generation talent. Hillary thought he'd be president one day. Joke's on her. He's the unelected president of the United States right now. And with his talent, he's ushered in World War III. But here he is, touting the success of his policies just last October.
The Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades.
Jake Sullivan shouldn't just be fired. Given his track record in the last 12 years, he should be investigated for
Right.
espionage and treason.
Right.
What reasonable person, when faced with Iranian missiles targeting U.S. soldiers, stands up and suggests we should send our enemies billions of dollars in cash to solve the problem?
Right.
Sullivan spearheaded Obama's Iran deal. He sent plane loads of cash to help Iran build their nuclear program. One of his first acts at the White House under Biden was to undo Trump's terrorist designation of Iran's top terror group, the Houthis. Sullivan oversaw the Afghanistan withdrawal. He oversaw the hiring of top Iranian sympathizers in top positions at the Pentagon and State Department. Sympathizers who were emailing Iranian officials as if they were their bosses. Ariane Tabatabai, Ali Fayez, Dina Esfandari, just to name a few. Sullivan put known Hamas sympathizer Rob Malley in charge of Iran talks. Malley's clearance has since been suspended. The only thing standing in the way of Iranian empowerment? Saudi Arabia. So that's why Biden called Saudi Arabia a pariah. The Saudis loved Trump. There was peace in the Middle East back then. But remember when Biden decided he did not want to be seen shaking hands with the Crown Prince? This was the moment Saudi Arabia and the Crown Prince took a giant step back from America.
Creepy.
And now the Middle East is in more turmoil than it has been in 2 decades. Sullivan is now panicking. He's made a mistake. So he's flown all year back and forth to Saudi Arabia, and they laugh at him. Case in
Why are we allowing this? Governments killed 262 million of their own people in the 20th century. If you think they care about you, you're delusional. Yep. Great image. Maybe that'll be this episode's. Here's an image, folks. Just if the car wasn't enough, because that was just a selfish kind of, well, that would have been such a great blessing, such a freeing invention. Revolutionized so much. I can only imagine the pressures he was up against. But if it takes deaths, if it takes seemingly an event where America united, even if it was the whole thing was corrupted and not like we were duped and fooled, the official 9/11 story, I mean, this image, it's just basic science. You see one of the trade centers where this plane hit the trade center, and above it, a small mass. I mean, it's wild. We've played input and expertise from engineers, and there was more than 700 of them that basically are like that those towers would not have been compromised, the steel structure, by an aluminum aircraft or no amount of jet fuel, because the jet fuel wouldn't even necessarily exceed half of the temperature that it would have taken to melt the steel infrastructure. But even besides all of that, even besides this very special like demolition substance they found in the debris, like controlled demolition, like there's just so many things. Like, just even look at this picture where it took place and looking at the small mass and then the large mass, and they expected us to believe this small mass completely destroyed this large mass in just 11 seconds. Heck, the small mass even gained speed at the speed of like free fall, going through undisturbed large mass. It was an inside job, folks. Those towers did not collapse due to planes being flown into them. Fact. You genuinely have to be some type of fool, like, after looking at the information. However, I was duped. I drank the whole narrative, hook, line, and sinker. And it's interesting because it's one of those topics that even become debatable on bringing up, because we're trying to keep things prioritized. Like, because to me, the pandemic is enough. We could just hone in on that, where everyone was a part of that. Because, frankly, there were people that hadn't even been born yet that we got to bring in, that definitely have a say, since like 9/11. But 9/11 was such an emotional day, such a historical moment, that I don't know, some may be able to have their eyes opened, and there might be the only way for some people more quickly to put on their critical thinking hats and be like, oh my gosh, well, clearly these papers were behind that narrative. These news organizations were behind that narrative. And they're the same ones that pushed the pandemic hoax. Maybe there's something to all that. I'm not going to trust them anymore. And I'm going to source information, and I'm going to go to these free speech platforms, and I'm going to find people that are trustworthy, more so sources. We got to vet our sources, vet unmuzzled chat even. Use your discernment. Be skeptical. Yes, of even this very platform. Let the content and everything that's been done this point, like, be the determining factor for you. Look at the actual information. I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. We're just trying to get to the bottom of things so we can effectively right this freaking ship. If that image isn't enough for you, listen to this. What is this gentleman? I'm not even quite sure, but he's in full uniform.
The impact of a jet. From what I understand, the outer skeleton of the building. The outer columns was like a fishnet, and you had these inner core columns, which were substantial, thick steel beams to withstand 4 or 5 times what the loads were. The engineers always over-designed the building. No steel frame building has ever collapsed before or since 9/11. So that should say something right there. And it said that it was a progressive collapse, that it was caused by fire. But progressive collapse, unlike the Twin Towers collapse from the top down. That's a progressive collapse, floor by floor by floor. But if you look at the videos of Building 7 collapsing, it collapses uniformly. It's collapsing from the bottom. The building stays intact all the way to the bottom of the ground, and you can see the sides caving in on it. For a building to collapse uniformly, which the video showed, all the load-bearing columns would have to have failed simultaneously. Now, fire doesn't act like that. I came across an analogy of the Twin Towers, and if you could visualize cast iron stoves stacked one on top of each other. The stoves up at the top, yes, there's fire, and they've been damaged, but the stoves on the bottom, they haven't been damaged. So the structure underneath all of that is intact. So it's impossible for a building to collapse near free fall speed and increase
without a controlled demolition.
You're running into the path of most resistance. So something else is going on. I don't believe that it was just the planes or the fires. I think that, and they examined the dust and they found what they call fermitic material, which is like an explosive incendiary, which was in the dust samples, and that's documented. There were reports of the buildings.
You hear that? The explosive incendiary that was found in the dust samples. Large quantities of it.
Undergoing an extensive elevator renovation in the 2 or 3 years prior to. All kinds of workers, they had access to the cores of the building. And on the day of the attack, the elevator company would not assist in the operations of the elevators. And the elevator company was the elevator company. It subsequently went out of business. And a couple of years after that, the information is out there. At one time when I was heavily engaged in trying to get a new investigation, I definitely felt threatened. I felt threatened for my family. And it wasn't a pleasant experience. You have sworn testimonies from firefighters regarding explosions in the building. They were suppressed. Just somebody making a statement, especially from firemen and police. If they make a statement, I heard an explosion. That's grounds to initiate an investigation. The firefighters, a bomb went off. This is their own words made that day. They just ignored it. Just like Building 7 was.
See, this alone, for some, could be that catalyst, that pivotal moment that brings someone to the precipice to where it's like, this alone is enough. Let's get to the bottom of it. Because that, in and of itself, exposes so much corruption. So much. That is unacceptable, egregiously unacceptable. That can we let that be enough is enough and no more? Time to get to the bottom of? And we can do that together. I know it. Here's a video of that Tower 7. You could see the incendiaries. You could see the flashes within the building all over just before it starts perfectly being demolitioned. Fire did not destroy that building. Nope. No plane, Pentagon survivor. She talks about it.
I was covered from my neck all the way down to my back in debris. I came out in what is believed to be the entrance or the place of initial impact. While I was coming out of the Pentagon, I didn't see any evidence of metal, airplane seats, luggage.
Nothing
that would give me any indication that it was a plane that had hit the building.
You can watch all these. I'll add all the clips. Now let's shift, because any one of these topics should be enough. I mean, the freaking water engine. That's enough. That's enough. 9/11's enough. Let's dive into 9/11 being COVID-19 being the biggest scam in human history. I've often said they have yet to isolate COVID in the wild. It's constructed. They fabricated everything. Listen to this man. He's accredited. So don't take my word for it. Listen to him.
I have a PhD in virology and immunology. I'm a clinical lab scientist and have tested 1,500 supposed positive COVID-19 samples collected here in Southern California. When my lab team and I did the testing through Koch's postulates and observation under a scanning electron microscope, we found no COVID in any of the 1,500 samples. What we found was that all of the 1,500 samples were mostly influenza A and some were influenza B, but not a single case of COVID. And we did not use the BS-PCR test, polymerase chain reaction test. Celia Farber does wonderful journalism on the topic. I did videos on this channel for that. We then sent the remainder of the samples to Stanford, Cornell, and a few of the University of California labs, and they found the same results as we did. No COVID. They found influenza A and B. All of us then spoke to the CDC, and asked for viable samples of COVID, which CDC said they could not provide as they did not have any samples.
What?
We have now come to the firm conclusion, through all our research and lab work, that the COVID-19 was imaginary and fictitious. The flu was called COVID, and most of the 225,000 dead were dead through comorbidities such as heart disease, cancer, diabetes.
I'll do you one better, sir. It was a murderous hospital protocols, remdesivir, vent, everything that these hospitals, these modern day ovens and kill camps were incentivized to do when they would separate and malnourish and from their families and loved ones. So like murder.
Emphysema, etc. Then they got the flu, which further weakened their immune systems, and they died. I have yet to find a single viable sample of COVID-19 to work with. We at the 7 universities that did the lab tests on these 1,500 samples are now suing the CDC for COVID-19 fraud. The CDC has yet to send us a single viable, isolated, purified sample of COVID-19. If they can't or won't send us a viable sample, I say there is no COVID-19. It is fictitious. The 4 research papers that do describe the genomic extracts of the COVID-19 virus never were successful in isolating and purifying the samples. All the 4 papers written on COVID-19 only describe small bits of RNA, which were only 37 to 40 base pairs long, which is not a virus. A viral genome is typically 30,000 to 40,000 base pairs. With as bad as COVID is supposed to be all over the place, how come no one in any lab worldwide has ever isolated and purified this virus in its entirety? That's because they never really found the virus. All they've ever found was small pieces of RNA, which were never identified as the virus anyway. So what we're dealing with is just another flu strain. Like every year, COVID-19 does not exist and is fictitious. I believe China.
Guys, I gotta tell you, bit of a spoiler from my findings and my breakthroughs. It's more so correlating to the buildup of toxins within the body or cellular mobile networks and those signals and trying to combat that. Hormonal levels, nutritional levels, because due to the food and the water, and so when you get those things balanced out, you bring God into your life. His evil has very effectively extracted all that and demonized and pit churches against and infiltrated even big organizations like the Vatican. It's taking us away. I'm pleading for each one of you to take your life, your health serious. And as we up your resilience, you naturally are just going to become a warrior. And there's many forms and positions and things. We're going to have love warriors, and it's all just as important. Unifying warriors. Deconstructing warriors. Ones that actually do calls to action and lead by example. And we need them all. Remember when the entire planet became one giant insane asylum practically overnight. Some of these people will never recover. Agreed. Check this out.
Comes from China.
Oh my gosh. You gotta watch this.
Okay, this is no joke. This is
insanity.
It's great.
Not social distancing.
Oh my gosh.
Get away from the freedom. Stop it.
Whoa, whoa.
Wow. Wish that punk would have tried that on me.
Came up with this idea. 6 feet apart. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Extreme measures of self-isolation.
People with bubbles.
It gets the point across.
Insanity. People drank this propaganda up as though it was biblical.
All day. Share your smile. Z-Shield wraps your face.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque. On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque.
What a joke. Yoga bubbles. Oh gosh. Mask, 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 mask. Children, dogs, lizards.
You must wear your mask.
Oh. The people that were killed, physically assaulted. For your own safety, I'm going to take you to the ground and cuff you and put this mask on you. Oh, okay, now you're good. Insanity.
I shouldn't have to make it fun. It's science. It's science.
Well, we're here. We're still alive, right? Wow, never again. Maybe this one will make the image. Vaccines will do the job slowly and quietly. Hardly anyone will even know it's a Holocaust. Nifty imagery with a needle, AK bullet. But it's true. I mean, how... Take Bill Gates and talking about the Depop and how they could achieve this. Like, is that not enough? Is that not enough? Like, egregiously unacceptable? And what he's doing, it's enough to me. To that other gentleman's passion. It's time we don't just nothing burger out of all these scenarios, and we hold people accountable or clean house so this type of stuff won't ever happen again. Just like most of the Clinton victims, I'm Susan Coleman. After having an affair with Bill Clinton, I became pregnant. Then my body was found with a gunshot wound to the back of my head. It was ruled a suicide and no autopsy was allowed. I was 7 months pregnant. These people. Heart goes out to Susan and her whole family. These people are evil. This would be a good one for the image too. Arizona builds container wall. Biden sues to have it taken down. Texas puts razor wire on the border. Biden sues to have it removed. Texas makes a law to detain illegals. Biden sues to have it nullified. They're helping the invasion. Is that not enough?
The fact that this is just out in the open is wild to me, but it's not shocking at all. So there are flyers being distributed at an NGO in Mexico that encourages people that are coming over to the United States to vote for President Joe Biden. Okay, so this is what the flyer looks like, and the last sentence says, reminder, once you've made it to the United States, make sure you vote for President Joe Biden, as we need 4 more years of his presidency to stay open. I'm not sure whether the Biden administration...
This puts the emphasis on the timeline we're dealing with, and we can't afford not to start taking action and waking up and upping our resilience now, people. Yesterday, in fact. We got to do this ASAP. Otherwise, don't complain. Enjoy the shackles.
And the Democrats keep saying that they're not importing thousands and thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants into our country for an electoral advantage, because they very clearly are. Oh, and if you're wondering who they are funded by, it's the Soros Open Society Foundation. So this is one of the reasons why our border is still open. Why else would they be against every single election integrity legislation?
Right.
The fact that this is just out...
Yeah. Calling voter IDs racist. Come on. We can see past that. Is this not clear?
Where are 54% of electric vehicles made globally?
I don't know about that number.
And the answer is China. Where is 73% of cobalt refining?
Probably China.
Where is most cobalt mining performed?
Most of that sourcing is in Africa.
No. China has the majority. 77% of electric vehicle cathodes are made in China. 92% of anodes are made in China. 66% of battery cells are assembled in China. The New York Times recently did a report on this. They said, can the world make an electric car battery without China? Their conclusion, the only winner so far is China. My question is, why would we want to make our auto industry dependent on supply chains in China? Why is that a good idea?
We don't.
Then why are you doing it?
The entire point of this conversation, the entire point of this hearing is to domesticate.
Then why are you shutting down critical mining in the United States?
Yeah. We're not.
You are. Why did you close the Twin Metals mine in this country earlier this year?
Very valid questions. But you can see through all of this. I mean, is this enough angles for us to engage and see the corruption? I mean, dating back to 2010, Jeremy Clarkson showed us how man-made clouds were produced on land that NASA's playing God. And we're just sleeping to it. Look at that. Unbelievable.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest.
No, it's not clean.
Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh, NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
Playing God. Wow. No, they're not. I'm not gonna. I can't. Chemtrails are still conspiratorial. I can't, man. Right here about our food. If you control the food, you control the people. This is ultimately the end game goal for the WEF, the UN, the globalists. Is this what brings people to the precipice?
When you start to see people like Bill Gates gobble up farmland, and you read what his foundation says about farming, when they say that we're going to have a particular type of agriculture, they want large blocks run by the government or by private consortia where they say we're not going to have animal-based proteins, we're not going to have stockyards, we're not going to have turkey farms, we're not going to have chicken. The academic mind always has the answers, but never in the real world, and they do a lot of damage.
Everywhere you look, small and medium-sized farms being gobbled up by these corporate mega farms because they can't keep up anymore. They can't comply with these endless streams of regulations that are coming down. We're seeing that in China now, where these giant mechanized corporate big government-controlled mega farms are displacing all those small family farms that families have been farming for hundreds of years, in some cases longer. They're moving them all off their little plots of land and moving them into these big, horrific megacities that they have built. We're going to see that all over the world with the decimation of small farms. So if they're not bankrupted by economic forces, the government itself will shut them down.
Everything is falling apart. There is a shortage of food. Many people do not have enough money to eat every day.
Everybody's out here today because they understand that when our government actually expropriates our farmers, we're all next.
Not just Holland is now facing these types of regulations, but you can see the attack on farmers all over the world. It's an agenda that is carried out on a global.
We've played so many of the clips, whether on the TikTok and a lot of our social medias, from the farmers here in America, in France, in the UK, Argentina, Australia, all over the globe, folks. Our supply, of nutritional access to, or food that has nutritional value, it's being diminished and attacked. We're to do something about this. This is direct impact.
Level that is being pushed through government officials in respective countries.
Germany, India.
How the globalists have managed to take over national parliaments and national governments.
20 countries equal 80% of all the emissions. You solve the problem to start with by making sure all of those 20 countries are doing what they need to do. we have to pull them to the table and leverage further. So how do we get there? Well, the lesson I've learned in the last year is money, 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 money. They're following scripts where they are thinking already from the perspective of a global, bureaucratic, quasi-totalitarian system of governing, system of rule. This is an agenda, and all these countries are implementing the same policies. So they've targeted the farmers because that's the agenda.
Right now, things have tripled as far as costs for my own farming operation and for many farmers across the country. And I think you're going to see across the board higher food prices.
Food prices are already up dramatically this year, last year a little bit too, and we might see more empty shelves in America. Even the president is promising food shortages in his conversation, so there's no need for this to be happening. You know, the people are the ones that are going to be hurt. You know, not just farmers, you know, trying to make a living. It's going to be the food supply of this country, which is a staple of our security of our nation, being able to grow the grain and the crops that we do, that not only supplies us, but our allies and other trading partners around the world.
We have 8 billion people on the planet now, and that's sustainable if they allow agriculture to continue to be mechanized and genetically altered. And I don't think they understand that if they tamper with that, you're going to have people go hungry.
We are headed into, I think, a time of very significant food shortages. Can we expect to see massive increases in food prices next year? Oh, no question about it. So I think the end goal of the war on farmers that we're seeing, which is guided at every step by the Sustainable Development Goals and Agenda 2030, is going to be a total consolidation of agriculture, a total consolidation of the food supply. And as every communist tyrant in the last 100 years has understood, if you control the food, you control the people. I think that's ultimately the end goal.
You control the food, you control the people. Yep. The USA has the most poisonous food system in the entire world. There are hundreds of chemicals in food produced, sold in the USA that are totally banned in other countries. Why did the USA not ban them when other nations did? Why have they not since? Thousands of everyday snacks that are face being banned in multiple states because their ingredients are linked to cancer, including Flaming Hot Cheetos, Lucky Charms, and Gatorade. Thousands of products finally are facing being banned in multiple states. It's where we can start on like the local levels. It's important that we educate ourselves and join these things and ensure this is where we're starting to see riding this ship. Eating McDonald's is like cleaning a toilet with your mouth. Visualize that. Eating McDonald's is like cleaning a toilet with your mouth. Would you clean your toilet, your own toilet, someone else's toilet with your mouth? Then why would you eat McDonald's? And a lot of other fast food chains.
These are the worst McDonald's secrets exposed.
Who loves a side order of chemicals? The salads are dusted with propylene glycol to keep them crisp and fresh. This is also used in their sauces, glazes, and hotcakes. Propylene glycol is a less toxic version of ethylene glycol, which is found in antifreeze. Sound appetizing? A common additive used in their food is calcium silicate, which is a white powder primarily used to prevent cement and roof tiles from caking. And what about the chicken nuggets? Less than half of a chicken nugget was actually chicken, and the rest was a combination of preservatives like TBHQ. TBHQ has been proven to be unsafe for consumption, with side effects like loss of vision and liver failure. So try not to eat too many of them. With the use of many chemicals, your meal is likely to look the same for years to come. Mold cannot grow. So when the chicken nuggets, burgers, or fries are left out, they completely dry out. But it's been a mystery as to why the buns do not get moldy. This is a little bit concerning when we think about putting this food in our bodies.
Nah, that shit was crazy, but it gets worse. Be sure to comment part 2 if you want to see more, and hit follow so you don't miss that video. Y'all stay conscious. These are the worst McDonald's secrets exposed, part 2.
3 out of 10 McDonald's drinks tested positive for fecal contamination in their ice. This would mean about 30% of the ice in your drink from McDonald's could have elements of feces in it, and can cause a number of diseases.
I'm so glad I don't eat this shit. But my question is, how does feces get inside McDonald's ice?
Right. It's like you are
tempted by the McRib? What you should know is that there are actually no ribs in this sandwich. It takes 80 ingredients to create this sweet, salty, and very...
Whatever. You get the point. It's no good. What if the world found out that chemotherapy and radiation were designed to kill cancer patients, and ivermectin, fenbendazole, apricot seeds, sour soup tea, chlorine dioxide, dandelion root tea, frequency therapy, and I don't know, were cures for cancer. I have a link to that too. Well, by the current state of things, it seems if the world found out, nothing would be done. Because the Clintons can get away with murder. Men that have revolutionary designs can just be killed off. We don't care. We got to up our resilience. Have we been pushed to the precipice? Have we been pushed to the breaking point? Has the evil globalist effectively deteriorated our state to where we would just accept the chains or the chambers or full tyrannical rule? Would that few of us show up to fight? I mean, we're there. And if we don't turn this around with the biological warfare, everything else that's been ramping up and the buying up the farmlands, all these things, like, we will soon be there to where they do effectively create things that deteriorated our state to the point we won't have a shot. We'll be too ill to right the ship entirely. Can you guys see that? I can speak from experience coming from like this with the fight of this bioweapon, Lyme disease. That was created very effectively and is taking a lot of people out of the game. They're just fighting for their own health and function at this point. And I was there for years. Somehow, some way, it seems as if with the vulnerable steps and taking action here, God has shown up, and I'm so grateful. All glory to God on connecting some dots and leading to some amazing breakthroughs. And that's what I want to see with all of you. Here's a quick clip. I mean, just to expose, like, we've been so many people. I've throughout the years, I've heard so many people do this 23andMe. Oh yeah, and they talk about even Joe Rogan and guests on his show. It's a joke, folks. 23andMe is a scam. Look at this.
I wanted to see what would happen if I sent my pet lizard DNA into 23andMe. And so with the help of my wife, we extracted enough saliva to send off in the mail. We were so excited to see the results. After about 3 months, we were shocked. My lizard was 51% Ashkenazi Jewish. He was also 48% West Asian. This was really interesting. They also gave us a little bit of his background and his history, what he liked to eat, etc. Let us know which animal's DNA we should send in next.
What a joke, huh? We've been living in the Matrix. More on the Clintons.
Any comment? No comment.
Not right now.
In November of 2009, a woman named Laura Silsby founded a nonprofit, the New Life Children's Refuge, which described its mission as attempting to rescue orphaned and abandoned children in Haiti and Dominican Republic. 2 months later, on January 29th, 2010, Silsby was arrested for attempting to traffic 33 orphaned children out of Haiti without documentation.
These are some of the 33 Haitian children an American Baptist group allegedly tried to unlawfully take out of the country on Saturday.
Laura Silsby says the group paid no money for the children.
The mistake obviously we made is we did not understand that there was additional paperwork required.
Would later learn through WikiLeaks that Hillary Clinton was sent email updates from Uma Abedin and other associates regarding Silsby's incarceration and developing legal case. This was not the first time Silsby found herself facing child trafficking charges. Silsby had been caught once before by Haitian police attempting to traffic 40 children out of the country. However, in that incident, no charges were brought against her, and she was merely turned back at the border.
Unbelievable.
A week after Silsby was apprehended the second time, on February 7th, 2010, former President Bill Clinton appointed Silsby a lawyer by the name of Jorge Puello. Puello was successful in getting Silsby's charges reduced to 6 months. Jorge Puello also had a colorful history with human trafficking. He was convicted of operating an international sex trafficking ring involving women and underage girls from Central America and Haiti. Puello's wife was also arrested on the same charges. In 2011, Silsby was appointed as CFO of the software company Connexus and would later become its vice president of marketing. One of IPAW's functions is to issue Amber Alerts to the public in the event of kidnapping. The Amber Alert system was set up during Bill Clinton's presidency. In 2015, Laura Silsby married Norman Gaylor and took his last name, which is how her name now appears on the Connexus website. How does a woman who was caught multiple times attempting to traffic children internationally get promoted to the executive team of the preeminent kidnapping warning system in the country? Izette Folger, a close friend of Clinton associate James Alefantis, gave a statement in support of Silsby during her trial. Folger is the daughter of Michael Maccabee, who coaches leaders of Nuestros Pequeños Hermanos, or NPH, a large organization that runs orphanages all over the world. Folger's son, Max Maccabee, is on the board of directors of an NPH orphanage called Friends of the Orphans, which is one of the 760 orphanages operating in Haiti and happens to be the exact orphanage from which Silsby was caught trafficking children. Curiously, Max Maccabee gave an emphatic and lengthy statement of support for Comet Pizza during a contentious neighborhood commission meeting back when the Pizzagate controversy exploded. It is also worth noting here that Frank Giustra, owner of the Radcliffe Foundation, is on the board of directors for the Clinton Foundation and is a major donor to the organization. The logo of Elpida Home, a refugee center founded by the Radcliffe Foundation, happens to be almost identical in shape and color to the boy lover symbol that the FBI declassified in 2007. Scandals seem to follow the Clintons. Their ties to pedophilia don't end there.
No, they don't. It is disgusting. It's sick. You cannot make this stuff up. And what a web. That is egregiously unacceptable. And we must get to the bottom of all of that and put a stop. Wow. I don't know if we got time to get through the rest of this, folks. I mean... Let's just play this a minute.
Look at history. This is what happens. We're going through it right now. Rome debased the currency. You break the main protocol. It breaks down the political protocols. The whole thing comes apart. Social cohesion comes unglued. My great hope for Bitcoin is that it can just break that cycle. We're self-deceiving, that we can print money and solve problems or steal from one another through our institutional frameworks. That's never going to be sustainable. This is what keeps happening. This is why every civilization collapses. And this is why our civilization is currently collapsing. Where are we at today? Breaking the monetary protocol. What's happening to the cultural layer? 2 + 2 = 5. My gender is a flag. Like, is any of this sustainable? I can't see that and not speak to that. People have said all kinds of things and be like, oh, you can't say it out loud. The state's going to hear you and they're going to like shut it all down. It's like, I don't care. I'm here for humanity. Right. So you can see I do get passionate about this, but I think my point is proven. If you study history, it doesn't work. And I think we just need to honor natural law as this country was founded upon. Life, liberty, property. Look at history. This is what happens. We're going through it right now. Rome debate.
I mean, this gal goes on, explains, oh, globalist parasites.
So basically, everyone keeps asking me, how do we win? How do we win against these like governments and these elite parasites that keep bringing in these laws? Well, the law is just a word on a piece of paper. Why are you following it?
Right.
It's called mass non-compliance. Don't comply.
Don't.
Oh, but I'm going to get in trouble. So what? Don't be afraid.
So what?
You want to know what Bosnia did? A sovereign human being and stop complying. That's it. That's all we.
That's it. Stop complying. Now, might I add, additionally, it's not just stop complying. We must rule out the corruption as well. He finishes on a really strong point right here. This gentleman, I mean, this is one of the tactics, division tactics, and demonization on our country and slavery and how black
That makes sense. You know, the first slave owner and the word slave itself, it derives from Slavic. That's not black people. Slavic people aren't black. The word slave came from Slavic. And in America, a lot of black owners had slaves. The first slave owner was a black man. Anthony B.A. their country.
Great clip.
They would feel like it needs a solution. Now, if it needs a solution, you're going to get that solution from the same people that told you to hate it.
Wow. Right. Ooh, let's play.
Doing it? Yeah. How come we're only taught about America? Why is that happening?
It's only happening because if you can get people to hate their country,
right there,
they would feel like there needs a solution. Now, if it needs a solution, you're going to get that solution from the same people that told you to hate it.
Wow.
Perfect. Yeah. We'll play that one, or have that one so you can watch it in its entirety. Yeah, this is what should have happened to those Ukraine flags started flying in this country. They reacted with disgust, poured water on it, came, ripped it out of their hands. No, we're not playing that. Folks, the Constitution actually says you can legally overthrow your government if they are tyrannical. In fact, we'd be derelict in our duties as citizens if we did not. Clearly, they're tyrannical. Clearly, they're oppressive. Clearly, they're infringing on our most basic rights. It's past that time. Some language here, but I'm with him.
So inside the Declaration of Independence, it states that if your government is basically not doing its job, it's not protecting you, it's putting your lives at risk, okay? Yeah. And they're no longer working for you. Everything that's happening right now.
Yeah.
It states that we, the people, have a legal obligation to overthrow the government, okay? And there's a very small amount of you who support what these fucking politicians are doing right now, okay? But the truth is, you are no longer driving the vehicle. The government is driving the vehicle for you. You're not even in the passenger seat.
Right.
You're tied up in the fucking trunk. So inside the
time to bust our shackles and get out of the trunk, wouldn't you say? Help us. Join us. Share this far and wide. Protect yourself. Start wearing. Right here, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. Support Black Eagle Apparel. Get some freedom merch today. Get it on your person. Stand strong each and every day. Let's go, Brandon. Get some Stand Up Now t-shirts. God made. Let your voice be heard. Come join on this podcast. Just little steps of action. Copy, paste in all your social medias. Let's get a muzzle chat out there. Bless this platform to bless you in future and everything. Get yourself protected. Check out the link, EMP Shield. Get $50 off that product. Best investment I've made yet. More to come. More calls to action. More connections. Up your health. Utilize the 15% off on the bond charge link. Get Blue Blocks glasses, a PEMF mat. Get the infrared sauna. That has been one of the key things that has helped me detoxify the mold, the heavy metals, the plastics and poisons in my body, which I'm now reaping the benefit of more cognitive function than I've experienced in years. I can't even begin to express what a blessing that is. You are worth it, folks. Let's do this together. Now I'm going to play today's scripture, and we will end with that.
Hi everyone, my name is Jordan and I'm a part of Rock City Worship from Rock City Church in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm so excited to share the verse of the day with you. Acts 4:12 says, "And there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved." I love this passage because it actually gives us insight about Jesus and about the Holy Spirit. In this same chapter, the Bible says that Peter was filled with the Holy Spirit, and as a result, he began to boldly proclaim the name and nature of Jesus after just spending the night in jail for saying those very things. Our verse is the final verse of that bold proclamation. This reminds us that out of all of the Holy Spirit's power and gifts that we might be attracted to, at the end of the day, the primary job of the Spirit is not to impress with signs and wonders or to give us emotional experiences. It is to testify to the glory of the Son and to make his glory known. It is the Holy Spirit that awakens our soul to the truth that only in Jesus can we find forgiveness for our sins. We can find freedom, joy, peace. It is the Holy Spirit that opens our eyes and shows us the glory of Christ so that we can stop chasing after empty things, hoping to be filled, stop trusting in that which will never meet our greatest needs of forgiveness, reconciliation with God, and salvation in Him. Those things can only be met through Jesus, for there is salvation in no one else. I pray today that your lives would be filled with the presence and power of the Holy Spirit, and that as a result, you would cling to the name of Jesus and, like Peter, boldly proclaim that His is the only name that has power to save.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to add, and to walk in Jesus's, to strive to walk in Jesus's footsteps. He came down to lead by example. Our society has it all wrong intentionally and backwards, where good is bad and bad is good. But Jesus teaches us to serve others. And our society has it to serve ourselves and to acquire for oneself. I believe if we're to fully fulfill our purpose, most fully, is to serve others. Selfless acts. Dare I say, we would even be gravely blessed and just more fulfilled. I mean, could that be the very reason why we're here? I love you guys. Thanks so much for joining and supporting us. Till next time, God bless you. Take care.